Let's bring in ABC News contributor Maria Elena Salinas and founder of the Justice Action Center, Karen Tumlin, a litigator who works on cases involving immigrant rights. Thank you both for being here. Maria, the journey to get across the border is incredibly dangerous, and many of these people are leaving behind their families to make that journey. Others are bringing even little ones with them. Why are so many choosing to take that risk?
Diane, because they're desperate. No one leaves their home country and takes such a dangerous journey unless they feel that it's their only option. And leaving behind their children is not an option. If it's dangerous for the adults, it's got to be even more dangerous for their little ones. And there's several factors that lead them to leave: the violence and insecurity, the political situation, the climate change, economic conditions. All these conditions have worsened worldwide, not just in our hemisphere. You know, I've heard some stories. When I was at the border a couple of months ago, one family had the mother shot twice by gang members because she would not pay them to be able to work. Although she survived, the warnings kept coming. Their only option was to come and ask for asylum in the US. There's been an increase in migrants coming from Cuba, from Venezuela, Nicaragua, where there's so much political turmoil there, and they can't be deported because US doesn't have diplomatic relations with those countries. And something else to consider is that the numbers that we're hearing, almost 2 million, like Maria mentioned, really include repeat crossers. Title 42 turned them back immediately, and many attempted time and time again to cross. And many of these people have been waiting in Mexico in very dangerous conditions for up to 2 years. So you have to add that to the equation.
And Karen, that figure from the Border Patrol, that they're on track to make 2 million arrests this year for illegal border crossing, that would be the highest rate since 1960. Why is it so bad right now?
Diane, it's so bad first for the reason that Maria Elena already said, right? That the policy that has wrongly been in place is not allowing people to have their right to seek asylum and sending them back to dangerous conditions. But also the problem with just looking at these numbers is numbers with no context tell you nothing. We have to ask ourselves, why are so many humans, so many families coming? And they're coming because they have no choice. They're coming because they're fleeing unacceptable violence and persecution in their home countries. And then we have to ask, what is the legal and moral obligation of the United States? And the legal obligation could not be more clear. Seeking asylum is a legal right. We have the legal responsibility to allow each individual to present their claims and have a fair day in court to ensure we don't send humans back to persecution. That's grounded on our moral obligation that we want to be the kind of country that will not send back men, women, children, young people to places where they can be persecuted.
So how is your organization helping some of these asylum seekers, and what more do you want to see from the federal government and any other government officials?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. Our organization has been part of a very long, important fight to end the Remain in Mexico program along with our partners at the border. I was born and raised in the state of Texas and proud to have been born and raised there. Unfortunately, the state of Texas fought a long legal battle trying to keep this shameful program in place. Now, after a Supreme Court victory by the Biden administration, we're finally seeing the place where new individuals are not being enrolled in this program. And we're asking the Biden administration to quickly disenroll people who have suffered under this program. And I want to make clear, as somebody who was born and raised in the state of Texas, you know, Governor Abbott cannot properly operate the power grid to keep my elderly parents safe from the Texas heat. And instead, he's trying to fearmonger by saying the problem is the arrival of people seeking asylum at the southern border. And I think Texans are smarter than that.
Now, Maria, what happens when that policy is fully lifted, as Karen is calling for? How do governments, both the state governments that are dealing, with this crisis because they're the border states, and the federal government, how do they then deal with the expected influx of people if these are the numbers we're already seeing?
And that's a very difficult question. I mean, right now there is a system in place where many of these people are either put in detention centers or they're sent over to different and to different camps around the city, to different shelters in the border areas. I have visited some of those. They are ready to help these people. And remember, these people that are being allowed in, these migrants, are those whose case has already been at least initially heard. They haven't really been studied, but at least it's heard and it's credible. And there's reason to believe that they might be persecuted. So they're allowing them to stay either for that or under a humanitarian visa. Now, once they are there in these shelters, they are sent out to different locations around the country with family members, with organizations such as Karen's that help them out, with friends. But the answer is not busing them to places like DC and New York, because that really ends up being a political stunt, and it does harm the cities also. They don't have the resources to help that. And the federal government, up to a certain point, does need to do that. They do need to step up, and they need to put their money where their mouth is. Secretary Mayorkas clearly said that he was ready to lift these two policies and that they had everything in place, and yet the cities haven't seen it, and the migrants at the border haven't seen the kind of aid that the government promised.
All right, Maria Elena Salinas, Karen Tumlin, we appreciate it. Thank you both.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.